Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to your essay class, and this is our 10th class. And today we're going to continue talking about the types of sentences. Last time we have talked about the two topics. The first one was clauses, independent clause and dependent clause. And I ask you to make a differentiation between the independent clause and the dependent clause, and we gave you different examples and exercises. And then we have talked about the two types of sentences. The first one was a simple sentence, and then we moved on to talk about the compound sentence. Today we're going to continue talking about type of sentences. The third type is called complex sentences. Complex sentences. We'll discuss complex sentences. We will have examples. Complex sentences with adverb clause. We have complex sentences with adjective clause, and then complex sentences with noun clauses. So please try to connect this lecture with the previous one and do your best to do as many exercises as you can, because in the final exam we will be having questions related to the simple sentence, compound sentence, and the complex sentences. Also, the use of coordinators and conjunctions is very important. So try to do your best. The next class, the class to come, we will be having a practical class. We'll be having exercises using the coordinators and how to use them and how to make mistakes while use them. How to avoid it. كيف تتجنب وقوع في الأخطاء في الكتابة. These are basics in writing, so I want you to understand them, to absorb the whole idea. We'll bring some complex sentences, compound sentences, and try to see if it is correct or incorrect. If it is correct, why it's correct, and if it is incorrect, why it is there is an error. Let us start today with our enjoyable class and topic, the complex sentences. As we can remember last time, we said that the simple sentence consists of one clause. We said the clause, independent clause, one independent clause. Independent clause means subject and verb. The compound sentence consists of two independent clauses, and the complex sentences consist of more than two clauses. The complex sentence contains at least one independent clause and one dependent clause. لاحظتوا الآن الفرق في الكومبلكس sentence؟ حكينا إنه في simple sentence it has one independent clause. في compound sentences we have only two independent clauses. لكن في complex sentence we have independent and dependent. Independent and dependent. هذا بنسميها complex sentence. Let us look, for example, at this diagram. John cannot set up his typewriter because the wall has no outlet. John cannot set up his typewriter because the wall has no outlet. My question is, where are the verbs? First of all, how many clauses we have? We have two clauses. One clause and one clause here. The first one is independent because it has subject and verb. The second one is independent because it starts with subordinating conjunction. Because هي من subordinating conjunction. The wall has no outlet is dependent clause because it starts with subordinating conjunction. طيب شو الفرق ما بين independent والdependent؟ حكينا عنه المرة اللي فاتت. Independent clause gives a complete thought. It has a complete thought. لكن dependent clause it doesn't have a complete thought. يعني لو حكينا الجملة التالية, if we for example write the following sentence without this sentence, for example, without the independent clause, saying that because the wall has no outlet. Okay, what is next? Because it's incomplete. This is what we call dependent clause. This one is a fragment sentence. It is error if we don't mention the independent one. So if we say because the wall has no outlet, the meaning is incomplete, right? Here also example. So as we said, a complex sentence contains at least one independent clause and one dependent clause. خلينا نلاحظ هذه الجملة ندرسها. درس, analyze and study the following sentence. She will go to school in the city until she finds a job. She will not go to the school in the city until she finds a job. So as you can see here, we have independent clause, subject and verb, and here we have dependent clauses. It starts with the subordinating conjunction. So it's very important for you to understand the subordinating conjunction, their function, and the place of each subordinating conjunction. لأنه في بعض subordinating conjunctions, you know, they come in the middle or between a independent clause and dependent clause, and some others they may come at the beginning. Okay? In complex sentences, you should use a comma after a dependent clause if it begins the sentence. So you should use a comma after a dependent clause if it begins the sentence. إذن it هذه refers to the mean dependent clause. فإذا ما جاء a dependent clause at the beginning of a sentence, you should put a comma. لاحظوا هذه الجملة. When I first moved to the city, هذه مش جملة كاملة, incomplete sentence. This is dependent sentence. Why it's called dependent sentence? Because it starts with subordinating conjunction. So هذه بداية الجملة, dependent sentence, نضع كوما. هذه قاعدة. الكوما جزء من القواعد, لا تستهينوا فيها. So you need to use a comma if the dependent clause is at the first part of the sentence. When I first moved to the city, I was afraid to drive the steep and narrow streets. هذه بنسميها a free independent clause. فيها subject وفعل وسبجect وفاعل وفعل. Let us read what you have in your textbooks right here. Let us read it together and see the other topics that we need to cover. A complex sentence contains one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. In a complex sentence, one idea is generally more important than the other. We place the more important idea in the independent clause and the less important idea in the dependent clause. So can you see now my point here? So in a complex sentence we have one independent clause and one or more than one dependent clause. Also, you need to pay attention that in complex sentence one idea is generally more important than the other. الآن the more important we place the more important idea وين في independent clause and the less important idea when في independent clauses. There are three kinds of dependent clauses. عندنا adverb, adjectives and noun. We will study it later on inshallah, but now let us talk in short about each one of these. We have complex sentences with adverb clause. لاحظوا هاي الجملة. Although women in the United States could own property, they could not vote until 1920. هذا بنسميه subordinating conjunction. Although women in the United States could own property, لو وقفنا هون المعنى غير مكتمل. لازم يكون في عندنا independent clause. They could not vote until 1920. لاحظوا لما وضعنا coordinating conjunction أو dependent clause في بداية الجملة وضعنا في آخرها comma. وضعنا في آخر dependent clause comma. Okay? So although women in the United States could own property, they could not vote until 1920. Adverb clause acts like an adverb. That is, it tells where, when, why and how. هي جملة عادية لكن الجملة في محل ظرف بتكون. A clause, adverb clause, tell us about where, when, why and how. Any clause tell us about when, why, where and how is called يسمى adverb clause. وهنا الادفيرب clause شو كان زمن. An adverb clause begins with a subordinate such as when, while, because, although, if, so or that. أي dependent clause starts with these subordinators بتسمى adverb clause. أي جملة dependent أي جملة غير مستقلة dependent clause start with these subordinators is called adverb clause. A citizen can vote in the United States when he or she is 18 years old. لاحظوا, a citizen can vote in the United States. لو وقفنا هنا الجملة مكتملة. A citizen can vote in the United States. إذن هذه independent clause. لكن a dependent clause start with when he or she is 18 years old. لاحظوا هنا ما في فاصلة لكن لأنه جاء dependent adverb clause في النهاية. Okay? This one is dependent adverb clause. كيف هي adverb clause؟ لأنها بتسأل عن تحكي عن زمن 18 years old. Okay? 18 years old. ثانيا it uses this subordinate when. So any dependent clause to start with when, while, because, although, if, so or that is called a dependent adverb clause، وبدي تميزوا بيناتهم، لأنه ممكن في الامتحان أسألك هذه a dependent adverb clause ولا dependent adjective clause ولا dependent noun clause. Okay, because sometimes these subordinators might be used in different situation, in different contexts. So hopefully the first one is completely understood. Let us move to another one. Complex sentences with adjective clauses. An adjective clause acts like an adjective, that is, it describes a noun or a pronoun. An adjective clause begins with a relative pronoun. Relative pronoun such as who, whom, which, whose or that. هذول كلياتهم شو بنسميهم؟ who, whom, which, whose or that بنسميهم relative pronouns. A clause starts or begins with relative pronoun شو بنسميه؟ بنسميه adjective clause. Okay, so such as who, whom, which, whose or that, or with a relative adverb such as where or when. So it follows the noun or a pronoun, it describes them. An adjective clause describes the pronoun or the noun. Okay, and it follows them، يعني مكانها يأتي بعد مش قبل. نطلع على هذه الجملة. Men who are not married are called bachelors. Last year we vacationed in Cozumel, which features excellent scuba diving. لاحظوا الآن. Men who are not married are called bachelors. هذا dependent adjective clause. Last year we vacationed in هذا dependent adjective clause. Last year we vacationed in Cozumel, which features excellent scuba diving. برضو هذه dependent adjective clause. Start with which here وهنا start with who. Okay, هذا بنسميه dependent adjective clause. Start with which أو who. Complex sentences with noun clauses. A noun clause begins with WH question, that, whether, and sometimes if. A noun clause acts like a noun, وظيفته as a noun. It can be either the subject or maybe the object of the sentence of the independent clause. لاحظوا that there is a hole in the ozone layer of Earth's atmosphere is well known. Scientists know that what caused it. لاحظوا there's a hole. لاحظوا هذه كاملة dependent noun clause جاءت في محل فاعل. إذن هذا كله هو السبجكت وهذا هو الفيرب وهنا هي الكومبلمنت. لاحظتوا كيف؟ it starts also with WH question أو that. In the first example, that there is a hole in the ozone layer of the city is the subject of the verb is. In the second, scientists know what caused it. هذا الفعل، هذا الفاعل، هذا في محل مفعول به اللي هو noun clause في محل مفعول به. Here we have some conjunction adverbs that you can use. You can use also, besides, furthermore, in addition, moreover, as well, to add similar or equal idea. To add لك انك تضيف نفس الفكرة او فكرة مشابهة. هذا المقصود في نفس الفكرة. Community colleges offer preparation for many occupants or occupations. Also, لاحظوا وين جاء also وجاء قبليها semicolon وبعديها بعد كل هذه also أو besides أو furthermore or in addition or moreover جاء بعديها comma. فهذه مهمة القواعد. ممكن في الامتحان أجيب لك استخدامات also أو furthermore أو addition أو moreover وما يكون في سيمي كولن اعرف إنه الجملة خاطئة، أو ما في كوما اعرف إنه الجملة خاطئة، هاي بنبهكم عليها. Okay. Community also here, as you can see, community colleges offer for many occupation. They prepare students to transfer to a 4-year college or university as well. لاحظوا استخدام as will جاء في الأخير، هذا موقعها، بدي تحفظوا مواقعهم. لاحظوا also when جاء ما بين independent clause، بعدين جاء بعدها conjunction adverb conjunctive adverb، وبعدين جاء clause آخر جاءت بالنص. as well comes at the end, to it comes at the end. However, nonetheless still is used to add an unexpected or surprising continuation. Okay, يعني هنا بيكون في شيء غير متوقع بنستخدمهم. The cost of attending college is low. However, or nevertheless, many students need financial aid. Okay, فلاحظوا أيضا أن هنا semicolon and the comma وجود هذه في وسط الجملة. We will explain actually these conjunctions and the last class conjunctions in one class, because we will have next class, it's a practical one. I will actually try to put as much examples and exercises as I can. Okay, so don't worry, we will go back to these in the next class. فما تقلقوا، يعني حيكون في هناك تمارين على هذه الconjunctive adverbs والconjunctions والsubordinates اللي أخذناهم المرة أو في المحاضرة السابقة. Also, on the other hand, in contrast is used to add a complete contrast. On the other hand, or in contrast, tuition at community college is low. On the other hand, tuition at a private school is يعني على النقيض. لاحظوا أيضا apostrophe عفوا semicolon والcomma, semicolon right here والcomma. Otherwise, to give an alternative possibility. For example, students must take the final exam, otherwise they will receive a grade of incomplete. لاحظوا كيف استخدام otherwise. Students must take final exam, otherwise they will receive a grade of incomplete. Accordingly, as a result, consequently, hence, therefore, thus is used to add expected result. Native and non-native English speakers have different needs. Accordingly, most schools provide separate English classes for each group. As a result, ونتيجة لذلك سيحصل ذلك الشيء. For example, for instance, معروفة, to add example, most colleges have writing requirements for graduation. For example, or for instance, students at my college must pass a writing test before they register for their final semester. So here kind of a summary to what we have discussed. So we have, if you want to add something like addition, to add something like and, you can use also moreover, furthermore, in addition, beside. If you want to add contrast, you can use however, in contrast, on the other hand, on the contrary. These are more actually transition, and here if you want to add result or effect, you said consequently. We just discussed these things. And if you want to emphasize something, you should say in fact, indeed. So we will actually, in the next class, we will have examples, okay, exercises. How can we use these transitions? Also for the exemplification, we've talked about these. About time, you want to, if you can say meanwhile. Meanwhile معناها at the same time. Subsequently معناتها after. Thereafter معناتها after. أكثر شيء مستخدم هو meanwhile. Okay. Right here it says underline the independent clause for each sentence with a solid line, underline the dependent clause with a broken line, and let us now do together, and let us write the subject above the sub above the subordinator. Refer to the list of subordinating on page 163. This is in your textbook. Well, as you can see, number 2, when students from other countries come to the United States, they often suffer from culture shock. First of all, the حكينا إنه dependent clause لازم تكون خطوط متقطعة. إذن هذا هو dependent clause. لكن independent clause هو they often suffer from culture shock. هذا بنسميه independent. لازم يكون الخط solid غير متقطع. Do we have subordinator؟ طبعا اللي هو when. هذا بنسميه sub. 3. Because financial aid is difficult to obtain, many students have to work part-time. So, because financial aid is difficult to obtain, many students have to work part-time. Do we have a subordinator? Yes, it is because. هذه بنسميها sub. Please tell me where the student union is. Please tell me where the students union is. هذا هي please tell me هو independent clause. يعني ممكن تحكي please tell me without the dependent clause. هذا بنسميه sub. Number 5, engineers who have an aptitude for drafting and mechanics must also be artistic. So engineers must also be artistic and imaginative. هذا هو independent clause. لكن independent clause وهذا شو حكينا عنه؟ Dependent noun clause. Dependent noun clause. Number 6. While the contractor follows the blueprint, the engineer checks the construction in progress. While the contractor, لاحظوا, start with while. هذه dependent noun clause. The engineer checks the construction in progress. هذا بنسميه independent clause. هذا بنسميه sub. Number 7. Since the blueprint presents the details of the engineer plans, it must be interpreted accurately by the contractor. So I want you to do 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, this is also homework. So I want you first to underline the independent clause with a solid line. هذا solid line. Underline the dependent clause with a broken line. And step number 3, to put إنك توضع sub for كل subordinators. Okay. Let us move on a little bit. Write in here, add the logical dependent clause to each of the dependent clauses. Punctuate each sentence correctly. Okay? By the way, the answer of this question will vary from one person to another. Like, for example, let us read together the first one. Unless I take 12 units each term, خلينا نحكي I am not a full-time student. هذا I am not a full-time student. هذا independent clause. لو ما طلعنا على هذه الجملة حكينا I am not a full-time student. هي جملة كاملة. It is thoughtful. It is clear. So please just add as much sentences right here as you can. Okay? Just try to understand also you need to put what? A comma, right? Because this one is independent. حكينا عفوا dependent. إذا كانت الدبنتة أو إذا ما جاء dependent في بداية الجملة توضع في نهايتها الكوما. طيب خلينا نروح على المثال أو السلايد الأخير. Underline the independent clauses with a solid line and dependent clauses with a broken line. Then add commas and semicolons to as necessary. Let us do just one of them. Just one of them. Information and communication technology is reaching out to help people in the poorest countries improve their lives. For example, fishermen on the Bay of Bengal can now receive online weather reports that tell them when it is safe to get out. لاحظوا, all of these are what? لحد هون they are independent clauses. لكن البقية independent. عفوا الأولى كلها independent، لكن الخطوط المتقطعة هي dependent clauses. لاحظوا الآن في الجملة الثانية. Furthermore, when the fishermen bring in the boat line of fish, they can find out the current market prices for their fish, which will help them bargain with the middlemen to whom they will sell it. Okay. Now, furthermore, هذه كله متقطع هنا, which will help to bargain right here, and then you have the broken lines. So please do all of these as the previous exercises together. Now after you finish watching me, just go and do the exercises by yourself. Next class inshallah we will be having exercises, so be ready. Thank you so much. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.